All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Get My Rants podcast. I don't know the episode because we've done like many of these before. Not
Let's
really.
just go with
Yeah,
one.
that's
Get my
not what
rants
it's going to be titled.
V2 version 2.
Do you want me to title it episode 1 or title it episode whatever it is right now?
It's revamped,
It's
dude.
revamped? Nah, 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 nah. I want in 10 years, when someone looks back, they're like, oh, what's the first episode? And they go back to that really shitty one back in middle school. I want that to
True.
be what they see.
In
Anyways,
10
No,
years,
call
we
it
should.
call it like
Will,
6 or
why
something.
don't you tell us why we're here? What annoying shit has brought this upon you that you feel like you need to get it out of your system and just talk?
Dude, it's just throughout the week of working at the Greens, dude. It's just things come to your mind, and it makes me self-reflect while I'm stocking cereal on shelves. I self-reflect about the true moments in life,
Okay.
and
So
then I
it's like
write them down on the notes on my phone, and then I have questions to ask my friends about their opinions, and then flame them if their opinions are bad.
So it's like a shower
But
thought
not here.
for
Not
stocking
here.
cereal. What will happen when you talk about Cannon? By the way, Cannon, can you center yourself a bit?
Can I send like yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're good. You're good. Yeah, that's good. All right. Anyways, so what do you want to say first, Will? I mean, I don't have shit I need to get off my chest. I'm a pretty chill guy, and I'm sure we mostly have Cannon here to get his opinions. So,
Hey. The first one all of us can talk about,
okay, go ahead.
which is it's the food service slash retail jobs and their importance on showing you to go to college.
All right, does anyone want to start? I'll go first because I worked at Taco Bell, so
Yeah, that's why
I worked at like a dry cleaner's minimum wage.
yeah. So
I just
mean,
wanted to put this in here because what sprouted this was someone at one of my coworkers was going to college, and she was also part time like me. And then all of a sudden, I come back after a vacation for a week, and she's a manager now. And I'm like, why are you a manager? And she's like, oh, I quit going to school. I was like, no, I've lost my one other part-time employee. Tragic.
Too bad it didn't work out with me.
Yeah. As a
Yeah.
teenager, when I was working at Taco Bell, it was fucking awesome just because like you got money, right? Like that's
Right.
like I don't mean fucking awesome as like, oh, this job's great. It's like I got money. I was there and I got money and I didn't really have to do shit like
But then
I had
again,
to
you
serve-
only made like $7.35.
Right. I'm not saying like it's an amazing job. I'm just saying it's awesome to have money as a teenager, right? That's like the whole thing.
Sure.
I'm certain that as an adult, when you're doing that, it fucking sucks dick. So that probably is very convincing to. I don't know. So that's what I mean is like I don't understand like some there are some people I know where it's like they were working like fast food, and they dropped out of school and just kept working fast food. And again, not to shame them or anything, but I don't understand the mindset going into it that it's like, oh, school's not for me, but I definitely want to like stay in like fast food service, and I'm gonna work up the chain in this. I don't know, like the day to day for that. If you worked 8 hours a day, either you get complacent doing that, which I'm assuming it might have been what happened, and if they're satisfied with their life, you know, that's on like that's
Here's the-
fine with them.
if
But
you
for
work
me,
at
like
home-
I couldn't do that because I would want to die if I spent 8 hours a day doing that, just because like I feel like there is like I'm not actually alive. I feel like I'm just doing fast food for 8 hours, and then I only have another 8 hours of my day. If I'm not doing something I actually enjoy or work toward, or I'm challenging myself, it makes me want to die. So I don't know. That's like where like I don't understand where that mindset comes from. But again, if they're happy with their life, I can't really like shit on them for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like here's the thing though. It's like if you're just looking for something stable and like you're in a position where you can't go to school or don't want to go to school, right? Like let's say like money's an issue or you gotta like take care of your parents or something, right? Like if you work at Home Depot for like 10 years, your salary is gonna be like really good. Like you can get up to like a $50,000 salary working at Home Depot for 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, but if you're in a situation where you need the short term cash, I don't think that like is the best thing. And the other
Well,
sorry,
what else
no,
can you get out of it?
I don't mean like working the job isn't the best thing. I don't think what you said about like working there 10 years gets you that salary. I don't think that
yeah.
would make sense. I think working there to get the money makes sense if it's short term. It's like you're having.
Well, here's the
financial
thing.
issues.
It's like, let's say the situation passes over, right?
Right.
And like, situations get better, right? You're like, I don't know, you're in like your late 20s or 30s or early 30s or something like that. hypothetically, it's like, well, you have two options then. You can continue with the career path you've been setting up for yourself, or you can try and invest your time into a new path. But that can be costly. That can be, it's harder to get, like, you're not going to get any, like, scholarships or whatever.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like I've spoken to people in their 30s and 40s who did that, and they often this is obviously anecdotal. I can't take a
Sure.
survey of everyone saying this, but they all always regret, like, yeah, at the time, like I didn't want to go back to school or didn't want to do X or Y, but and then they ended up just working their normal day job. They worked their way up the chain, but they ended up
Yeah.
relatively unsatisfied. And that's why adults always say stay in school, kids, because it makes them unsatisfied. That's why, like, every adult you come across who like is in that kind of career path says, "Oh, you should stay in school," because they're like, "Wow, I fucking like I made so many
Yeah.
regrets doing that." So I think like obviously like there's some people who are going to be very satisfied, but for the majority of them, I actually do think many of them have like a certain degree of regret, or at least is like, hey, you should really consider staying in school or like doing something else, or I don't know. I don't really know like how many other options. It obviously depends on your circumstance, but yeah, I think that
Sure.
it's a general. What
I
about from
mean,
the
it's
Greens
definitely
angle,
like,
Will?
I feel like we definitely grew up in a spot though where the optimal path is go to high school, go to college, get a job.
Yeah, I'm saying if like if you're able to do that. I'm not. I'm just saying like if that's something you're capable of.
I just think working retail and like food service is like an important thing for most people to learn.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
because, well, one, it gives you like decent like skills with like working with people and understanding things, but I feel like it also like kind of like motivates you to do something that isn't that, because you're like, wow, this is do I want to work here my entire life and do this kind of stuff over and over again? Like, I don't know, man. It's a real motivator to get out. Like, I don't know. There's just been so much like dumb shit that I've had to deal with at the Greens. I could go like a whole fucking podcast on just Walgreens stories of chaos. But yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about it, about how my coworker didn't continue going to school, and I was a little disappointed. I was like, damn, it's the end of the line for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I mean, obviously that was like, it sounded like it was her choice in some way, shape, or form. And if
Yeah,
she felt like trapped because she didn't get good grades, then, well, she didn't get good grades, so that's still her choice to an extent.
yeah, too true, true. I just didn't. I expected more. She seems.
Did she wait? Do I know which one this is? Have you referenced them before?
Oh, we don't have
I,
to go into
yeah,
that.
I don't think you know who it
Yeah, but
is.
we don't have to go into that specifically. No.
All right, just curious.
Okay. I think we went over that pretty well. We got our thoughts in there. It's mostly just I don't know. It seems like it's like for us at least our view is mostly like seems to be a circumstantial thing.
Yeah.
We also have a very skewed view because I'm
Yeah.
assuming all of our parents had some sort of higher education. We grew up in a pretty wealthy area where, like Cannon said,
Norm.
the norm, the standard is going there. But when I went to Loris, actually, it is very interesting to see because a lot of those kids were first generation college students. A lot of them were lived in the middle of nowhere, where their graduating class was like six.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, like half, like actually, no, I mean like not all the graduating class. I'm saying
Sure.
the ones who actually graduated, that got a
Oh,
degree, and a lot of them, the rate of the amount of people from their high school that went on to further education was low, like 40%, 30%, somewhere, depending on who I talked to. My roommate when I was there, his his high school, the average was about 32% of kids or something like that. He said went on to
graduation.
they graduated high school. He said like 95% graduated from high school, but only
Oh,
like 32% went on to go to a 4-year university and not learn like a trade, or just going out of school and working
yeah.
somewhere else. It's just different perspective when you go from where we are to like rural Iowa or southern, like rural southern states.
Oh, yeah.
It's a difference in perspective.
It's interesting because like I would like sometimes like my grandfather. He by the time I was born, he had already settled down in this in Danforth, Illinois, which has a population in the hundreds. So it's like we go down there a lot, at that time. So it's like interesting seeing like the kids down there, like because we'd go to like church with him or something, and so they would like if I was like really young, they'd dump me with the church kids, and I didn't go to church every weekend. Um, I didn't like there's like so little to do down there. Everyone knows each other, you know what I mean. So it was very different like talking to them, and I'm pretty sure like that area it's like yeah, most of them just stayed in there was farms down there. They like their families ran farms and stuff. So I'd say like at least 3/4 of them probably stayed home and just like worked on the farm.
That's another thing though, is like you could consider in that there's sometimes more other like alternative paths for places like that, right? So say you're in
Yeah,
like a more rural community and like they actually rely on like their population doing more jobs like that, such as like the farming activities, right? So they actually want people to stay in that line of work. So for example, like here in where we are, or where we were in high school, is like the only opportunities I feel like outside of going off to like some sort of degree or higher education, or is if you worked like a minimum wage job or started off somewhere like
yeah, I
that,
agree.
right? So there's like different opportunities also available at the bottom comparatively. Again, so like the best example I could probably give is like the farming example.
Yeah, I think because that in that community, it's like you guys they make their own income there, so you can be part of that and be supported by those communities. Like obviously, you work for your wage still. I mean, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it is a much more like smaller inclusive community, whereas around here it's like your main option is like well you can either learn a trade or go to school, and if you don't do that then you're probably fucked.
All right, let's move on. Next one, Will.
Alright. Have you boys ever heard of the trolley problem?
Yeah,
No, actually,
Never
enlighten
heard
me.
of the trolley problem?
you definitely
Alright.
heard this, Jack.
No,
You probably
educate
have
me.
heard it, Jack. I'll break it down though, in case you haven't. It might be under a different name that you might have heard it.
Sure.
All right. So this is a classic ethical question that I wanted to hear you guys' opinions on because I was talking to my friend about it.
Is this to kill
Eh,
one person versus kill five person?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. So you're staying at the train tracks. Train's coming towards a line of 4 people. You're at the lever. You have a chance to make the trolley go and kill one person. Do you do it?
Uh,
What's the reasoning behind it? I wanted to hear you guys' opinions on it.
so the classic philosophical perspective of this, right? Like, you would say like based on my answer, Jack, you're a huge utilitarian because I am looking at the end result of this, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that making the move to get one person killed is way better than letting 4 people die. So I would do it. Now, other people have a moral qualm because they will say like, "Oh, I don't want to be the one to like change it so it's like that person dying." Like specifically like, "Oh, I'm making that person die. I killed them." I can live with that. I mean, like if because on the other hand, you're like, well, I'm saving these other 4 people. Like, it makes sense to me. Uh,
Hmm.
it's hard because like this is such like a fundamental like it's like an innate like emotional thing to describe for someone's morality in that sense is like they feel like this innate like um I guess just wrongness of like changing it to being killing that one person because they feel like they are the ones who killed them, right? And that's something I cannot like relate to, but I know
Sure.
that's like the biggest counter argument people usually make to the mathematical perspective, which is like 4 is better than 1. Do you have
Yeah,
any disagreements, Cannon?
I mean, I agree with your statements. I just think it's like I can understand not being to like wanting to be responsible for that. I think that most people actually there was like someone who actually did this simulation where they pre-recorded images or videos that were edited to make it look like they took one video with people on tracks and then didn't move the camera and took another video and had a train coming by, and they molded the videos together, and they were like in a control room in an area nearby, and they were like explaining like, oh, it's like, hey, this is like my job, blah blah blah, you were eased into it to make it seem natural, which makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so they at that point, I think this was actually done by Vsauce on YouTube, in one of his like YouTube premium things, which is pretty interesting. But they go through and it's like most people either press the button or froze and talks about how they couldn't make a decision about it in the moment. They just froze. They didn't make an active decision not to do it ever.
No. Like the track is coming to the four people. By not making a decision, you are making the decision. Like, well, sorry, you're not making this, but like it's either like there's no other. It's either you don't do something or you click the button. So like, I don't think you can say that like those are the two things people did because those are the only two options. So I don't understand.
Some people just say I don't want to touch it because I don't want anything to like do with it, like because they're like if I touch it, then people know like I was the one who caused this to change.
Yeah.
And then if you don't touch it, it's like, oh, rip, those people died. But also, I think in that case, it depends. For those people who answered, I wouldn't touch it. It depends if there are people around or not. If you throw that also stipulation in.
Oh, true.
Because it's like, do people know that I made killed one person for 4? If not, then their answer might change to killing the one guy.
Wait, do you think someone would get flamed more for like not doing it, or sorry, for touching it by normal people?
If there's someone nearby, then
if there's people nearby, well, it depends. People have very different ideas about it because if you just let it happen, then you have no, you're technically not involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you stand there and move it, then people say you're involved. I guess you could say like, oh, you didn't. It depends if you're like standing right next to it and you could have moved it.
Yeah.
Then maybe people. I think the majority would flame you for not moving it.
Yeah.
But I think like if obviously like the family of the one guy you kill would probably be otherwise. Or it depends. It depends who are the 4 people. Are they elderly? Is the one on the left on the one person a small child, or like are 4 of them criminals? Like how do we rate people in that sense? What like how much is like? Do you think about it in the game of like a game of chess where it's like this piece is worth 4, and this is worth 1? Is a baby worth more than an old person? Like it really depends how you value life and.
I mean, if you gave me more context, like I would definitely break that down. But like, yeah, I just we're under assumption that it's just like a random like.
Random number. It's not so much for the question. It's more so like that's just a general like question on how people value life. It really depends. Some people think that they're equal. Some people think a newborn has just as much reason to live as an old person.
Well, I mean that's like also like a reflection of responsibility though. Is like some people have this feeling that like not doing something is a responsibility issue. Like all it takes for evil to win is for good men to do nothing. Like that's a classic like saying that people have. Whereas like if you don't do something, you are still responsible for not doing that thing. I personally don't believe that. I always hated that notion, but in this situation, I do definitely think that because it's at no cost to yourself, you're not like actually putting yourself at risk by doing this. Like hypothetically, we're just saying this will not cause any risk to you. Like you're not someone's not gonna come kill you after this. That like it is at no cost to yourself to make that decision, and in that type of scenario, for me, I would feel personally responsible for having done nothing, right? Because this would be a situation where it's literally at no cost to myself. I could have helped people, and I would feel responsible for that. Like, so that's just.
I mean, another interesting point I wanted to bring up is that like you were talking about like if other people were nearby, would they flame and stuff? I think the biggest problem about having other people nearby is like the phenomenon.
Yeah, it's the bystander effect. Like I think if you had other people nearby, no one would do anything, right?
No, I feel like no one would do anything potentially because everyone would think, oh well, someone else will do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like why do you have to say, hey, that you right there call 911 instead of someone call 911. Because if you say someone call 911, no one's gonna do it.
Right, I agree, but we're under the assumption that
there's a name for that. No,
it's called the bystander effect. Okay. But like, we're under the assumption that someone like would do something. But yeah, I think you're certainly right. It's like if there's people there, then I don't think anyone presses it because that's like a phenomenon that's been shown to like always happen, like almost always. It happens like it's like an alarming rate.
It's a social effect. Yeah.
The studies for that are actually alarming, but okay. Well, I think we gave our thoughts about that for the most part. I mean, it comes down to very fundamental, like, where you lie on it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to one of the other topics of that just because this kind of connects to that. So, I was thinking back. I saw a post from a former girl we knew in high school
Ah,
talking, and she was a very big advocate for animal rights and stuff like that.
vegan?
And I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
about that.
Oh, I wonder if this is like a vegan topic because that would have opened
No,
up
no,
Pandora's box. Ooh. All right.
no. She there was a video of someone hunting,
Mm-hmm.
and they killed like baby bears
Mm-hmm.
or something like that in defense, I guess, or something like that. Well, I think they could have gotten away, but they said they were scared or something. And she's like, "Fuck that guy! Like, you should die." Basically, what I'm trying to get at here
She's
is,
very upset. Yeah.
yeah, basically, so the question was, like, how many lives is an animal's like how many animal lives is worth one human life, and vice versa? Like, because I know some people would say there's no amount of animal lives that are worth a single human life, and then I know people who are like, yeah, I don't know. I think a certain amount of animal lives would be worth one human, depending on who the human was, what they're about, blah blah blah.
Okay. I mean, I'll start. I'm a huge speciesist for intelligent creatures, and
Fuck animals.
yeah, because humans are intelligent. Well, no,
It's
no,
like
no.
Michael Reeves
No,
versus
no, no. So,
turtles.
so, like,
Turtles.
no, but like, say like, and we're not going into this from like a like eating animals perspective because I don't want to open that Pandora's box because that's actually a very complex thing.
Next
So
week,
no,
next week's
we're
episode.
not. I just want to make clear. Let's not touch on things that actually require like a fucking degree on morality to like actually just start.
Nah, next
breaking
week's
down.
episode.
No, that's
Three
just,
idiots,
No,
three unqualified idiots
I-
try to answer life's
I
most
don't like breaking
meaningful
down ethical
questions.
things because that actually okay. Anyways,
Where do we
but
go after we die, Jack?
we have politicians with degrees in
Okay.
engineering, and they talk about moral issues
yeah, and they're
that
always
decide it for the
fucking
entire
wrong.
country.
That's why I don't want to hear politicians talk a lot of the time because they actually. All right, anyways, so the animal thing is that like I think if you're asking me like what I would choose, like so say it's the train track issue again. It's like I either have to pick like this one person dies or like infinite animals die. Now, barring like saying it's infinite animals, but like obviously like no effect on
Many.
humanity. Like n amount of animals, right? As long as like humanity still has animals left to like eat, breed, whatever. I would always choose the human just for me because I always think that like I think that human life is just more valuable. There's actually no way for me to logically justify this, by the way. This is just an innate feeling of me thinking the human's more valuable. I don't buy the human is intelligent and that's why he's more valuable thing. I actually really dislike that argument, but I just innately feel that way. So there's no way for me to actually justify it. That's just like if it came down to my decision.
Yeah.
Would you? Okay, Jack. I have a two little things,
Yeah.
two cages over lava.
Yeah.
One human prisoner. 10 dogs.
What kind of prisoner though? What did he do?
You don't know. Just he's a prisoner.
Oh, I mean, the 10 dogs would die. The prisoner.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering.
Okay. So like, here's the thing, right? Like, see, now you're asking me like emotionally, I want the prisoner to die. Like, I hate the prisoner, right? I want him to just get destroyed. But I turned a new leaf like years ago. I think that people should be are able to redeem themselves, and ultimately, like, everyone is a victim of their circumstance. So in an ideal world, I wouldn't like prison wouldn't be seen as like this punishment. It would be more of a rehabilitation. That's obviously not realistic, and I'm much more pragmatic than that. But like in an ideal sense, that's what I would do, and I would try to follow that as well. So I would have to like let the dogs die and let the prisoner live. Um, it wouldn't make me happy, but it's kind of like I feel like I have to kind of follow that, else I'd be I don't know, kind of breaking my own.
I can. What about you?
Well, it depends. I don't think if it was an option, like let's say we had to like every animal in like a 4 mile radius of an area was gonna be killed, or I could just kill one guy. I'd probably kill the one guy because that'd be really bad effect for the ecosystem locally.
Well, no. We're not talking about anything like that has effects on people. That's what I meant by like the killing things is like it won't have effects on food. I'm not talking about realistic effects. We're talking about strictly from the standpoint of it being dead. Like we're not talking about any sort of actual effects. We're only talking about if the thing die. Okay.
Yeah, this is isolated.
Yeah, this is an isolated
Okay.
situation.
I'm asking you your.
Oh,
your
well then
morals.
generally, okay, so here's the thing. If it didn't have an effect, then generally I would choose like the human life. I think that
Same
I don't
question to
know,
you though, Cannon. 10 dogs, prisoner.
10 dogs or a prisoner?
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know the conditions of the prisoner, right?
No.
Or like the parameters.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, I think don't get me wrong. I'm a dog owner. I like dogs, but if like my dad was gonna die or my dog was gonna die, I'd say my dad. You know what I mean?
Well, this is a prisoner though.
But this is a prisoner. I don't know those dogs. Um, yeah, I mean, I'd probably have to kill the 10 dogs. I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's unfortunate for the dogs and whatnot, but I think that the human, like, I don't know what the human really did to be there or anything like that, so I don't know if he's like necessarily actually a horrible person.
Yeah,
And
like I feel like any sort of situation where it's asking like prisoner versus X is
I wouldn't
always
want to risk harming an innocent person over killing animals.
yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think the thing with the prisoner versus X questions, which often happens, is that like most people will often say like they would let the prisoner die because it really feeds on society's like disdain of like people who have committed crime. Because we live in a society that is very like very anti like fuck these criminals stuff blah blah blah, right? Like I have a huge emotional like just anger toward people who have committed crime and like very how do I say, just very violent ideas like in the past on like how to deal with them. But the thing is like ultimately I don't believe that's like I believe that's much more of a result of how we're socialized than like what is actual idealistic. In an idealistic sense, I wish that wasn't like the way we would do things. But unfortunately, like both sides aren't really realistic. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what about you then?
No, I'd for sure value the human life. The question would come down to for me, it would be how if I asked myself the prisoner question, it would have to be like, what did they do?
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not sure how bad the crime would be for me to be willing to kill them. You know?
Yeah.
Because I know I wouldn't kill them if it was robbery, like selling drugs.
Yeah, I think those are.
I think it would have to be like
rape or murder.
It would have to be rape or murder, but it would have to be like, for sure. If you're a child predator, boom, you're gone. Basically, like, it would have to be like a murder that wasn't self-defense.
Yeah.
Or, see, I don't know if I'd even kill the person who murdered someone who's like their wife. He caught his wife cheating on him with someone else.
Yeah.
And he killed that person. I don't even know if I'd kill him then. See, like, it's tough. But generally, I would take the. Generally, I would assume animals are.
Killed his. I don't care if he murdered
So if
someone.
Reed killed you,
on him, I would still.
So if Reed killed you.
Oh, we killed Estelle,
No,
and then I had to say Reed.
No. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Okay.
Oh, that's yeah.
Here's the thing. I agree with Will though. Is like it's actually more beneficial to the prisoner if I don't know what he did, because honestly, like if I knew what he did and it was anything like not like just robbery or like if it was anything just violent in general, I would want to fucking destroy him. Just I don't know if I could hold my rage back to just fucking destroy
for
him.
like disrupting the status quo.
No. Just like I'm just saying, like I have an innate, like I get very angry about these things, right? So I don't know if I could resist my own anger of wanting to fucking destroy that person. So that's just like it's better that I actually don't know what the prisoner did because then I can actually follow like what I want, which is like the ideal to happen, which is like that person should be given like a chance to like become a better person and like be useful to society, So.
Sure.
Okay, I think we've gone over relatively.
All right, and now to get away from the moral questions,
Good.
I wanted to ask kind of a comedy question. Now I wanted to start with Cannon.
Oh.
All right, Cannon. How much is our friendship with you? How much is our friendship worth, Cannon? How much money? How much money would it cost for you to disassociate with me and Jack forever?
Oh, enough to be set for the rest of my life.
How much would that be, Cannon?
It would have to be millions of dollars. It would have to be behind.
$1 million. That's
Here's the thing. If it's enough to cover me for the rest of my life. Because here's the thing. It's like if I have friends, the goal ultimately is to hopefully remain in contact with you guys for as long as my life allows, right? Because I value like spending time with you guys and your opinions and so on, and your opinions of me and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? We have a certain amount of trust between each other, things like that, right? So if that like can't happen in a sense, then the only reason I would like to do that would be is like a sense of like security for what I'm losing. You know what I mean? Like I'd have to gain something lifelong if I'm losing something lifelong.
That's fair. Jack, what about you?
All right, I have the calculation for you. Based on. All right, so I'm saying if you were to ask, no, I'm saying if you were to ask me
$750,000.
if you were to ask me
Gone.
from high school, right, I would need 50 years of money, at least $50,000 like year, right? So 50 times 50,000. So
Only
you would need
50,000.
2,500,000 to like. Actually, no. It would be more than that. It would be. I would want 100,000 actually. So double that. 5 million. 5 million.
Okay,
Right?
there you go. 100,000 a year.
Wait, yeah,
50.
is that right? Yeah. 5 million. 5 million. Okay, if that's high school Jack though, because all right, let me explain the mindset here. In high school, I really just wanted to like just play video games and just like go home, play video games, and just live a life. And $100,000 a year, you can definitely do that. And like my parents would be very satisfied with that. Like it'd be fine. Like I didn't have any other goals at the time. Like I could work on like drawing or singing or writing or whatever. Right. I actually do want to be a doctor now though. So like the money doesn't really matter to me because like even if I had the money I would still like I wouldn't really know what to do with what that amount of money, in the sense that like okay, but like what goals can I achieve after that, right? Because I want to do things, like I want to achieve things like achieve skills or like be in school or get certain degrees and stuff, right? Because like I get a rush from doing that kind of stuff. And I don't know, like, so it's not really worth it to like just say like, hey, give me this amount of money. I'd rather just chill out with you guys and just do what I'm doing. So it's not really like you couldn't really bribe me with an amount of money to do that at this point in my life.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be like like 70K. I'm out.
Well, no, but like so like say like I had the money, right? Say I had the money, what would I do?
Dude,
after that?
it'd be really tough to like someone's holding like a briefcase of like $150,000 in front of you, and it's like never be friends with them again. It'd be really hard to like be like.
Well, no, but like even if I have
I
the
feel like
money,
everything. I feel like all those questions are tough when it's like the money's in front of you.
that's true. That's true. It's definitely a
What?
different response, but like, just like logically for me is like, what do I do after I have the money? Like, what am I gonna do with it? Like, am I gonna buy a house and do that stuff? Is that gonna make me happy? Not really. Like, I still want to like finish school. I want to go to med school. I want to be a doctor. Like, and the money can come later after that. Like, that's not an issue for me. So I don't think that's a big deal. So yeah, I don't think you could pay any amount of money to make me disassociate with you boys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're self-sufficient, then you don't need things from other people generally,
Yeah.
and the things you do want from other people, you already have hopefully found.
Yep.
Fair. Next topic.
You never answered it, Will. How much money?
How much is an esports org?
Several 10 million. Or no, you have to buy the slots, so like what, 20 million, and then you have to pay the players. So probably what, like 5 million to pay the player salaries. So you'd need at least 25 million right off the bat for first year.
25 mil. Then that's my answer.
And you're gonna run your organ to the ground by signing like Dokla or some shit. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna sign an entire team of content creators. Dude, honestly though,
Female team.
you can do the
Dude,
100 Thieves
no.
strategy, where it's just like build a
dude,
brand
dude,
and sell
dude,
stuff.
if you think about it, like if I'm gonna be a budget team anyways, why not do it for like a publicity stunt?
Mhm.
I sign a bunch of like streamers, like a bunch of like meme streamers, and then the viewership for those games would probably be insane for at least the first season.
Until
Develop
they
a
have
fan
big
base off
boys.
of it, yeah, and then go from there. I sign a bunch of streamers. It'd be kind of funny.
It'd be interesting.
The integrity of the league would probably be a little crushed, but
Yeah.
it'd be funny though.
Actually,
As
not a
long
bad.
as long as I didn't sign a bunch of like plats and silver streamer like Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm sure if you gave me billions of dollars, I would like maybe I'd disassociate with you guys and I just like move to like fuck who knows where, move to LA and just like start an org. Maybe that's the answer. Who knows? But like as a general concept, like if you're just giving me like a reasonable amount of money, it wouldn't make sense. Maybe if you give me like literally like billions of dollars to like live out some wild fantasy, but sure. I mean, I couldn't even think of something right now. Like that'd take me time to think about. Okay, I think we've mostly answered that then. So Cannon's a piece of shit, is what I gather. Will needs
What?
money to fill his dreams, and that's why Will would do it.
I
Makes
said more
sense.
money than both of you.
Yeah, Cannon did not want to let go of friendship.
Nah, Cannon would let go as soon as a girl shows up. That's all that.
What the fuck? Holy shit.
And also, so he could fix his car. That's what he needs the money for.
Yeah. Wait, how much does a new car cost? Just...
Yeah, you really. All right.
7,000.
All right, Will. Next one.
Next topic.
No, you guys can just give me rides, right?
All right. What do you think is the next popular movie drama?
What do you mean?
Genre.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, it was all about the vampires. Then we went to zombies. Then we went to like Western kind of like tried. At least there's like 3 movies in a row, and then there was like 3 like space movies with like Interstellar, Gravity, and then like The Martian came out a little bit
Oh, you
after,
got that.
and then boom, superheroes. What's next now that Endgame is closed?
Card games.
Well,
What's the? You said card games.
No, I'm kidding. Honestly, this isn't something I could predict.
If you don't have to, you don't have to predict it. Then,
Multiple choice.
what would you want it to be?
What I want it to be.
Yeah, if you see a bunch of movies,
children's card games.
Martial arts movies. I mean,
I just want Canada to be like anime themed movies.
I want.
It's just
I
anime.
can't say that.
I want.
I mean, actually, I do really like anime movies, though.
Harem.
I want martial arts stuff that's filmed like traditional martial arts movies. I want things that are filmed like Matrix and filmed like Into the Badlands.
Oh.
I hate I only like Asian action movies a lot of the time because the way they film it is very long shot. Like they take scenes that are very like long and wide, and you can actually see the choreography that goes into it. I fucking hate shit like Transformers where it looks like the fucking robots are trying to have sex with each other and you can't tell what's going on. Like that shit pisses me off. I watch it, I'm like, wow, I actually don't know what's happening in this scene. But like, for example, Daredevil, Into the Badlands, Matrix was like the one that was super popular back in the early 2000s. Those are all filmed in like a way where you actually tell like there is a lot of choreography put into this. Really good fight scenes, like very long. You could see like all the characters like really play out like what they want to do and like how they countered stuff like that. Like it really feels like you're watching like, I don't know, like a sporting event almost. So that'd be my answer.
Okay.
What about you, Ken?
Foreign film. No.
Anime.
What? Yeah.
You can say that if you want. That's fine.
I mean, here's the thing. I
would say anime's not a genre though.
That's true.
Here's the thing. If animated films became really popular, then I feel like because like the ones that make it over here generally are the ones that like are pretty good. You know what I mean? So if we start shifting over to like people liking those more, a lot more trash is going to come through, and then it's like maybe it might be better for the industry as a whole. But like, I'm kind of happy with what we do get now.
All right, genre though. Genre.
Oh. I mean, here's the thing. Like basic, like overarching genres, like action and like psychological or horror, they're always going to be popular in their own departments. But like, what it's like, you need like, it's sort of like how in anime isekai is really popular right now.
American
You know what I mean?
isekai, bring it back, dude. Spy Kids 3.
I would love to see that actually. I would love to
Kids
see
3.
American interpretation of the isekai genre.
Jumanji, Spy Kids 3. Those are all isekai.
Jumanji 2, baby.
Yeah, I know.
December 13th.
America has
Oh,
isekai.
maybe we already had our
Matrix,
isekai genre.
Jumanji, Spy Kids 3. They're all isekai.
Oh.
In another world. Yeah.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Same era.
Yeah.
No one. Okay.
No, I know your reference. Just okay, Loco.
Listen, Logan.
See, the trick is, Will, you let Cannon talk about a topic, and then you just let it sit there, and then he realizes how bad his joke was.
Wait, what?
Listen, Cannon. All right. Anyways. So genre though, like you gotta. So you said isekai? Is that it?
Yeah, I would love to see American isekai.
Okay. All right. Will, how about you?
You know me, dude. Westerns.
Westerns.
I want sci-fi. I want. You guys see Cowboys
Yeah,
versus
Cowboys
Aliens?
Aliens. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Garbage execution, but I want movies. I
It's a
want
beautiful book, right?
I want cowboy. I want Western sci-fis.
Okay, fair.
Western themed sci-fis.
Sounds not bad.
Yeah.
Bridge to Terabithia was a banger.
Bridge to Terabithia. Let's go.
Absolute banger, dude.
Quite the banger.
I feel like there haven't been a ton of movies that are like that came out recently that kind of caught my eye. I don't know.
Has there been anime that's catching your eye recently, Cannon?
I mean, I'm always watching anime. Let's be real.
See, like, because I feel like I don't know why. Like, I stopped watching anime this year. I don't know why. Like after January, I just got really lazy because it's like, oh, I gotta commit like 24
right?
hours to watch like this like stuff, and it's like I don't want to deal with that. Whereas like with manga, I'm just like, oh yeah, I can just read this and stop. And it's
It's
like,
always available.
that's not true. I read it and I binge it, and it probably takes more time. But the idea going into it, like mentally, I'm thinking like, oh, I can just like read a few chapters and stop. Right?
See,
like,
for me, it's like it's hard because I want to watch everything at night right before I go to bed. But it's like it's much harder for me to stay awake and watch manga because there's less sensory components to it. So I always end up falling asleep.
is that
Like
why
I
you fall
really
asleep
like
while
reading
planning
manga.
things?
Well, I don't know about that. But no, but like honestly, it's like it's harder for me to read manga because my time to read is at night before I go to bed. I'm like, oh, I'm done with my homework. I'm done with all this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. All right, well,
What about you? When do you read manga?
When do I read manga?
Yep.
Dude, that's why I have to watch all the dubs when I do watch an anime because I watch it at night and then I just fall asleep while trying to read subtitles.
all right, let's go to the next.
Yeah, that's
topic.
fair.
All right, this is the last topic I have written down.
Okay.
I want to talk about how pirating content
There we go.
is gonna make a comeback.
Wait, come back. People just do it more normally now.
I don't want to talk
No.
about this.
I know how it's like normalized now, but I'm saying, you know how it like used to be like super taboo, and now and then it was normalized and like no one really cared about it, right? But I think with the addition of all the new streaming services, like the Disney streaming service, the Amazon streaming service, the new NBC one, I think, or something like that, and then like Hulu, Netflix, and all this stuff like that, all the original content being made on it, yeah, there's so many new shows, but you don't want to pay $10 a month for each single one for their original content. Like The Mandalorian's behind a paywall. They're behind Disney's paywall. You have to pay $10 a month. There's a couple other shows I'm interested in, but they're also behind their own paywalls. So I think it's going to be a big thing to pirate those.
Okay.
And it's going to be a big new thing. Well, not new thing, but it's going to be back, but it's not going to be like how it is now where it's like kind of casual, because now these big companies are the ones like their stuff's getting pirated and they want the money for it because that's why they made the streaming services. So I feel like it's going to be a more of a crackdown, and we're going to see some stricter anti-pirating laws.
And that they would have to like do lobbying and stuff in like
yeah, no, I'm not saying like right now. I'm saying as we move more towards away from like traditional media like TV and movies towards internet streaming and stuff behind memberships and stuff like that. I'm thinking in the future, I think pirating is going to get a lot tougher, and I think it's going to be a lot bigger punishment than a little slap on the wrist like how it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think that's definitely a possibility. I don't know. I don't think there's much I can add to this. So,
well, what do you think? What do you think of content being put behind like paywalls of multiple streaming services?
So this is a constant argument that I always see all the time, and it's like pretty much we've gone full circle back to TV channels, right? Because like the idea is like originally like you have all these different TV channels. Everyone's like, wow, that's fucking
you pay for the packages,
right? That's fucking lame. And then Netflix came out, was like, hey, we have a bunch of shit too. Why don't you just buy Netflix? It's like, oh, that's sick. Then everyone starts coming out with their own originals, pulling stuff off of Netflix. You go right back to the problem of having a bunch of TV channels, because now it's just a bunch of subscription services instead.
Yep.
we've gone full circle. I consider myself lucky to have lived in a time where I got to experience like the little, 10-year period where like I got to experience good streaming services before everything goes to shit again. I consider myself lucky. I don't know what's going to happen in the future though, but that's where I see it going. Is we're just going to end up full circle. It's going to be too many streaming services, and people are just going to be upset again. That's why I agree with your pirating thing because I think it's going to happen. So
Yeah. What do you think,
I
Kanan?
think that here's the thing. What I don't think is going to happen is, I think you guys ever heard of Verve?
no,
No.
VRV.
no.
So essentially, what they do is they're a streaming service, but instead of having like exclusives, except for like a couple, which they do actually have some exclusives that are animation. They're like an animation streaming service that does like pulls like from Crunchyroll and like Funimation and a bunch of other sources, and you could just for one payment a month access all of those services. You know what I mean? I really wish something like that would exist and it would help a lot more. But the problem is that completely defies all of their business models. So it's amazing that Verve itself exists already.
That's well. So I'm thinking that the people who lend out to Verve though then aren't as greedy in that sense. Like I
They
think
don't
their margin.
advertise Verve at all. That was the thing. Those
Mhm.
companies, like
Right.
Crunchyroll, is like they obviously advertise their own service a lot, but they don't have any way to get to Verve's website or anything on their domain.
I'm assuming their assumption is then that the margins that Verve cuts into of people that would purchase from them are already people who wouldn't have purchased from them in the first place. They're probably mathing out the
Yep.
margins. Like I don't know. The companies who do this, like I know a lot of people like to flame companies whenever they do make a financial decision that they like think is bullshit or hate. But like the people who do these things are actually very smart, like math wise. Like they actually do know their shit really well. So, like all
Yeah.
the stats that go behind it. So obviously, like any decision they make is always to net them as much money as possible. And I'm assuming that whatever Verve is getting, they're assuming that's not cutting into their margins and it's actually hitting an audience that would not have subscribed to them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Because then the people going there for Funimation or the exclusives or whatever, they even though they don't watch Crunchyroll shows, they get a portion of that.
Yeah.
And then even though and you can access Verve for free with just ads, so they get a cut of all those too.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of just seems like just a win-win for them.
Hmm. You pirating anything, Can?
I mean, probably anime because it's much easier to. I mean, here's the thing. One of the reasons why the Western, civilizations like Canada, North America in general, Europe, have been watching anime more in recent years is because it's much easier to pirate something from another country than it is like it's gonna be hard to pirate, I don't know, NBC's newest show in America here because they're airing that now and they want to keep tight like rope on that, right? But like if a show in Asia, they don't have as much jurisdiction here. It's harder for them to enforce that. So it's a lot easier for U.S. domain sites to host that intellectual property essentially.
Hmm.
And that's why that easy of access has like granted a large boom towards just popularity in the states. And here's the thing: they make a ton of money off of like merch and stuff over here. I mean, not as much as in like Asia, but it's the market's there.
Makes sense.
Well, that's all the topics I wrote down.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have
You have
thought
any
of
rants
anything
about stuff
while we
that
talk.
pissed you off like this week though? Like
Any rants? Well, I got it. Just
I know. Wait, are we talking? Is it personal stuff or generic stuff?
you can talk about personal stuff.
You can
Just
talk about personal
just
stuff.
defend.
No,
Like,
I'm not gonna talk about this.
I just
based
read
on-
about coworkers like
Cannon,
customers.
here you could just omit the names. Like you just tell a story and omit the names.
No, that's okay.
You're a loser.
Person A did this. Person B
All right, well,
sucks.
how
Oh,
about you?
I will say D&D has been frustrating recently.
I liked last night's session. I thought it was great. Let's not
Last
talk about-
session was a breath of fresh air,
Yeah, last night was great. Okay.
especially after what we endured before that.
Okay. Will?
Hmm?
You have any rants to talk about?
Rants?
Yeah.
Oh.
Shit that you thought was.
Do you want to talk
it's-
about the issues that surround D&D?
No. Let's not talk about that. Stuff that annoyed the shit out of you, like over.
We can get into it. This is the first episode. We're talking in generals. We can have a full episode on D&D ranting later if
Yeah.
people are actually interested. And by people, I mean like the two
The
people
three
who
people,
watch this.
yeah. There's gonna be 0 people that watch this, by the way. Just letting you know how the Yuga.
That episode will bring Harry on because I feel like Harry knows how to
Yeah.
talk about D&D.
Well, Cannon, you realize if Harry's on, you're booted, right?
No, we could do 4.
Well,
Oh, we have to change the format if there's 4. God.
It's all right. Well,
no,
I'll make
you
it. I'll
have
make
to
it.
change the
I'll make a
format.
layout. I'll make a new
All right,
layout.
anyways, here's the thing. I gotta say this about the algorithm. If this was 10 years ago, I'm sure we would get viewers. Right now, that's not how the algorithm works, okay? You need short content, like 10-minute content that gets you an initial audience, and even after that, podcasts
With
are still
clickbait
kind of like,
titles.
bleh. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more for personal enjoyment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's more of a
Forces
passion.
us to have real conversations.
Yeah, I like having real conversations, and this is an outlet to do that without having to listen to like people in our Discord. God, insert champion here in my league game is pissing me off. Like
Ooh.
trying to have an actual conversation here, guys. Come on.
I'm sure. Actually, you could probably flame people because the thing is, like, no one's gonna watch until this far.
No, they know who they are. I've complained about it before.
Yeah,
it's not like it's
exactly.
anything new.
Yeah.
Like trying to have a real conversation. I just wanna. Sometimes you just want to chill out and hang out and like have a legitimate conversation that isn't a shit post for like 5 minutes, and sometimes you're just in the mood to relax. Some people I feel like just don't have that gear. You know what I mean? I feel like some people don't have the change gear from excitable and like they're comedic and stuff like that, but they don't know how to turn it off and just like chill and have like a nice conversation or like
Yeah.
a serious conversation. Some people just feel like they're always in like meme mode or like I want attention or something like that, or like I don't know. I feel like all of us have that gear where we can like start talking about something like a serious topic and like have an actual conversation without without having to like shitpost every 2 seconds. So I don't know.
That's something I value. So
I find the content that I usually walk back to watch though isn't like the podcast content. It's usually like the content with Canon.
Oh yeah, it's the meme and the shitpost.
Yeah,
one,
the funny content is the stuff.
Well, that's because it's easy to digest because it's quick.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I want to go back on something, I'll listen to like the old Canon videos, like the Skink Masters one, or like the one where I like send Estelle the pictures.
how many
of
times
Canon
have you
and stuff.
rewatched those?
Oh, so many times. You have no idea, dude. Skink
What
Masters
the
has so many views from myself.
Shout out to Nick for 700 views for like 700 Jack's views on one video.
What?
Nah, Nick has watched the same video like 70 times.
The John
On
video.
Jack's channel.
We live in
The
a
We Live in
society.
Society.
That one.
Yeah. Do you know why we lost that one on Ron? That one.
We live in a
Yeah,
society.
it's that one.
And he smiles and he walks.
Oh,
past
that
the
one.
screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a great video.
Yeah. So, well, this was getting my rants. This is the rebirth, the revival. Gonna try to have a weekly, hopefully. Weekly's a sensitive word around our group. So try to have a weekly. I don't know.
Me
like,
and Will will be here every week. I can
yeah,
promise you that.
30 minutes to an hour or so conversation about something. Something serious. If people listen, they do. If they don't,
Yeah. Will and I will
whatever.
be here every week. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust that. Like the situations where we won't be here is like there's like a holiday going on, or Will has business to attend to, or I have things to
Business.
study. So
yeah, but I'm always available to reschedule.
yeah.
But yeah, so this has been this episode. I don't know if you want to do shout outs like /FF, but
That exists. /FF.
yeah, I miss it.
Yeah. We can
It'll come back as just a 2-man
Hey, we
show.
start up next week after the free
Yeah.
agency's over. We can talk about
Roster.
how Immortals is amazing now.
Yeah.
Anyways,
by amazing you mean signing amazing, because that's probably the best players we'll have on the roster.
This has been Getting My Rants episode N something, because I don't actually know. This is gonna be
Episode
the
4.
cast signing out.